What's up, my Guerlainophiles? Eugene here. Hope you're all well. Gonna be taking a look at BOIS MYSTÉRIEUX, which is formerly known as Songe de Bois d'été, from the Desserts d'Orient collection, which Guerlain has completely dismantled. They've discontinued Rose Nacrée du Desert. Encens Mythique and Songe will be transferred into Absolus d'Orient bottles. Songe is actually being renamed, rebranded completely as BOIS MYSTÉRIEUX. The reasoning behind this, I'm not entirely sure. I can only guess that it just wasn't selling, or it wasn't very popular. I can only speculate in the Desserts d'Orient collection. But quickly, before I begin, just a quick story time. You guys know I'm not really crazy about these dry, woody, leathery, oudy aroma chemicals, and I much prefer my traditional perfumes. And you know, the Absolus d'Orient collection, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. I don't wear them very often, you know. I have worn Santal Royal twice in the past month, and there's a reason for that. I'm getting to it. I did wear it for my birthday, and like the moment I sprayed it on, I kind of cringed, and I thought, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I don't enjoy this, and I really wished I wore something else. I did wear it again this week, and the reason for it is during the winter holidays, or let's call it Christmas holidays, I went out with my wife. We went to a cafe and just kind of had like a date, and this young Persian man walks in. He was with two older ladies. I'm gonna assume his mom and aunt. It doesn't matter. And he was wearing this really heavy fragrance with, it was obviously a rose oud with some skank to it. And I thought, wow, that guy smells sophisticated. He smells like fantastic, and that's definitely a rose oud. I don't want to ask him, but my wife's was like, she was so against it. She's like, no, leave him alone. Like, let him be. Stop bothering people. And I was thinking, you know, if I had to guess, he's probably wearing Diptyque's Oud Palau. And I thought, you know, I can't enjoy these because I'm constantly, as an enthusiast, I'm constantly doing this, and all I can smell are these aroma chemicals, and I don't really appreciate them. But when I smelled it on him, I was drawn to that scent. I was drawn immediately to oud, and the moment I got home, I sprayed on some rose oud. And that kind of led me to wear Santal Royal again this week, and I totally looked at it from a different perspective. And instead of, as an enthusiast, doing this every second, I sprayed it like very far away from me, far from my body. I wasn't trying to pick up notes. I was just trying to appreciate Santal Royal as a whole, and appreciate it much more. I did. I thoroughly enjoyed my day. I got the skank factor to it. You know, I definitely got elements that I would normally by spot sniffing, but it was just so much more enjoyable to let it be, and not have to think about, oh, what am I smelling now? Oh, what is that? What is this? No, it just, like, as a whole, I just, you know, it was just so much more enjoyable in that sense, you know. So you know, I do have a love-hate. You know, I love Thierry Wasser's creations and his French spin on Middle Eastern perfumes, but at the same time, you know, just the chemical, the harsh aspect of these, I don't really enjoy them. I do much prefer, you know, a fine French perfume. So that's just kind of my take on, you know, something that I was able to appreciate Santal Royal by smelling something similar to it on someone else. And that's, you know, that's kind of what perfume is about. And it's not really doing this or, you know, smelling yourself every second to see what you can pick up. to me, it was the aura that I enjoyed instead of the individual notes. And if I do enjoy oud, I want to enjoy it that way, because I'm never going to be able to enjoy it by spot sniffing. It's just way too harsh. These things are all way too strong, and I can only compare it to taking a hammer and just like pounding yourself in the head with it all day long. That's what these do. If you're, if you go light on the trigger, light on the sprayer, apply properly without going overboard, there's definitely hope for you if you are like I am some of the times. But anyway, let's get back here. Songe d'un Bois, like the whole collection's been axed. What the reasoning is, I'm not really sure. Guerlain's always playing musical chairs with their products, their packaging, their perfumes. I don't know what it is. It's their marketing. Maybe they believe, it's marketing without actually marketing or advertising. I guess there's going to be a whole lot more availability to this line. In Canada, these are only really available at the boutique here in Toronto. So there's a free plug for the Toronto boutique. Right now you can get these there. I'm not sure if they have any more of these, but these are available there. I'll leave the link or the number down below. You can get them there. I haven't really seen these carried anywhere else. They're not available at Sephora or the Hudson's Bay or Holt Renfrew or Saks or Neiman Marcus. At least not, there's no Neiman Marcus here. At least not here in Canada. I'm not sure about the US, but, and these were kind of the same way. These were only available at the boutique. So, Bois Mystérieux, this was my favorite from the range. There was just something about it that drew me. As a huge fan of leather and patchouli, both of those notes are in here. I'm not really sure which is more dominant, because every time I wear this, I'm getting something different. And, it's a leather, spicy, woody, oudy perfume, but Guerlain is definitely marketing it as wood-based. So Songe d'un Bois d'été, it's obviously a Midsummer Night's Wood is the French translation or the English translation. So a Midsummer Night's Wood, and here Bois Mystérieux is a mysterious wood. So they're, I'm not sure if they're implying oud. Is there oud in here? Yeah. It's definitely not in the forefront. There may or may not be some oud in the background. I would say yes, there is. It's definitely a lot of wood. Cedar in the opening, very sharp and scratchy and dry. In the dry down, it dries down to a nice creamy, I want to say sandalwood. I'm not sure what the note pyramid says. I hardly ever look at the note pyramid unless I'm like completely mystified. But mystified, yes, this is also very mysterious, as the name implies. Always getting something different, but for the main part, it is a very spicy, a very, very spicy Middle Eastern take. Woods, leather, it's got a lot of saltiness to it. I would definitely think this would be called something queer. In the process of making this, the lab name for this actually was queer, Terry Wasser was saying, and then afterwards marketing just came up with their own, they attached their own name to this. A lot of patchouli in here, it's very spicy. It just kind of reminds me of like dry smoked meat, left to rot out in the desert. It does have a little bit of a skank factor to it. It's got that balminess. I do get, a lot of that vinegar, like this balmy vinegar, very salty meat, salty leather, a little bit of a sexual innuendo here. I'm not going to get into it totally. I have reviewed this with Christo. I will link that review down below as well. So, the big question remains is, now that it's been repackaged, as enthusiasts, we're all kind of thinking the same thing. And I know what it is you guys are thinking. Has it been reformulated? Well, it's definitely Songe de Bois de Thé. There's no doubt, you know. On the surface, it's Songe. It's, you know, it wants to be Songe de Bois de Thé. When you dig a little bit deeper, has it been reformulated? You know, when you start peeling away at the layers, you know, the fibers inside, I would say no, it's not completely 100% the same Songe that I have in this bottle. Has it been reformulated? You know, in my limited experience with this, I would say yes, it has been slightly altered. Not performance-wise at all. Performance for me is, it's actually too much. It's way too strong, lasts all day, just as this did. To me, it's just kind of lost a little bit of that animalics, just that sultriness, and a little bit of that BO. I remember this being very heavy on the cumin, maybe the cardamom, and but again, you gotta remember, it's extremely cold here in Toronto. It's gotta be like, you know, the whole week has been frigid, it's been bone chilling. So when I get up in the morning, it's, you know, minus 15 degrees Celsius. And it's like that, you know, when I get to work, it's absolutely freezing. It's just cold where I work, so I'm not able to pick up that BOE cumin note in here, unfortunately, because it's a note that I really do appreciate. I haven't tested this bottle out side by side with this one, but I did test a decant that I have at work in my locker with this, and I can obviously pick up a slight difference in the opening. In the dry down, to me, they're basically, you know, very, very similar, so hard to tell apart. But I'm gonna spray these two really quickly. What's really interesting though is I remember there was a time we were saying, actually I even said in one of my videos that there was no alcohol put into the desserts de Orient. They were very high quality, really well made, and there was no alcohol put in them for whatever reason. But I look at the packaging, I've got the packaging to both of these, and they both, you know, the very first ingredient is alcohol. I don't know how I never noticed that before, but we're gonna get into these ingredients. So to me, right off the bat, it's woody, it's sharp, it's very strange, it's bold, and it's unique. This is not your typical, you know, to me it's not typical. It is very strong. It's got a petrol note. It's two sprays and it's pounding. Like, I'm scared to spray this one on. It's very cloying. So this to me was all day performance. Every breath I take, I can literally smell it until it got cloying. There were several times where it started to cloy and I wasn't able to smell it, but I could tell it was still there because my nose was completely shot and my hair stood up on ends. That's the way I can tell when something is cloying me. My hair will start to stand up on ends. And I'm not really sure where your nose and your hair kind of meet, but there's definitely something going on there. Before I spray this, I'm just gonna let this settle, because if I spray this right now, I won't be able to pick it up. So let's go over these, the ingredients listed on the back of these boxes, because I did have a quick chance to look at them earlier. They weren't exactly the same, but they weren't terribly far off either. So just like in an ingredients list on a container or a package of food, all the ingredients listed first is what is the majority in here. So does that make sense? So what's listed first has the most amount of that ingredient, and the ingredients listed at the end has the least amount. And any changes of ingredients here all came towards the end, and you know, it wasn't until the last few where the majority of the changes were. Most of the, the first ones were all the same. So it started off alcohol, parfum, fragrance. That's actually the same thing, dumbass. Parfum, aqua, so alcohol, perfume, water. And then you start getting into all your chemical compounds, which I have no idea what they are. So, that's a good sign that it has been reformulated, but it's a tight reformulation, at least to me, and it's held up really, really well. I still want to test it out more, when the weather is appropriate, as it is like freezing cold here. So yeah, performance wise, it's actually too much. So that leaves us with 6 now in the Absolus d'Orient. There's the new one, Musk Noble, Encens Mythique is in here. I'm also understanding there's going to be a 7th release come early spring, so let's say April or May, and that one's going to be Queer Intense, so leather intense leather, and I'm really excited for it because I'm a huge lover of leathers. And this is this leathery, I want to say it's woody, spicy, leathery, and then oudy in that order. Maybe I'd put patchouli right after spice. Woody, spicy, patchouli, leathery, and then oud. Anyway, there you have it. Bois Mystérieux, Songe de Bois de Thé. Will this become a classic? I don't know. What makes a classic? Like, to me, a classic is something that's timeless and that holds up over time, with Guerlain constantly repackaging and rebranding. Can this ever become a classic? I don't know. Like, if they keep rebottling this and renaming it, I don't know if it can. Like, Derby, I consider Derby a classic, but it's also been even worse, it's been discontinued and then brought back from the dead, and now once again, unfortunately, discontinued. But to me, I will always see Derby as a true classic. Will Songe de Bois de Thé ever be known as classic? I'm not sure. Only time will tell. Guys, if you smelt the new bottle, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. We'll get back to you. I want to thank you all for watching, and we will see you again shortly. Bye for now.